Welcome to Trusted Podcast, where it's all about discovering who you are and learning the tools and strategies to make every area of your life a little sweeter. And now your host, master coach and caddy, Fader.
Boom. Aloha, brother.
What's
Aloha.
up?
Hey, terrific Trusted Tuesday to you.
Oh, yes. And to you as well.
Thank you. Lots of aloha today to talk about. So where do you want to begin?
So today we are on, we've been talking about how can we share with the world the system and the 18 holes of
Yeah.
mastering life. And
Mhm.
as we've been talking, we thought the best way that we could possibly do this is just take it a hole at a time, much like you would a golf course. And hole number 2 is called What's Next. And it's a process of discovery. And in each hole, we have different shots that we can make.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
of the shots that we can take on this hole, there's a thing that you've developed called the thread. And it's one that I've liked, and it's something I read in a book that kind of connects with this, and maybe I'll talk about it later. But uh, I believe that this system is truly helpful in building confidence
Mm.
because if you think about it in life and in golf, like confidence changes everything. Like
Mhm.
the right mindset and the right confidence can make the difference between sinking the putt or missing it completely.
Well
And
said.
and so if you ever find yourself making decisions from a place of insecurity, like you're not good enough or you don't know if you have what it takes, then you'll want to listen in on the story that Fader's going to share and everything that we're going to go through today because it can make or break your game.
Well said, Tyson. I love a quote that is by Socrates, and he said, "The unexamined life is one that is worth not living." And so when you look at the system that we have created, and I'm just going to be really arrogant and say it's so good. I use a word that's called bitchin', and it's a surfing word from the old California, the Beach Boys days. But it is so beautiful, and that helps my players understand how they can truly dissect their life into these different components. And you talk about an examination, it's more thorough than going and having a doctor's examination. And we know what happens sometimes when we go have those doctor's examinations. We don't look forward to a couple of those things, do we?
No,
No, we don't.
no.
And then Roosevelt said we must, dare to be great. He said the simple and easy life is worth not living. And we must dare to be great because greatness is the fruit of the toil and the sacrifice that we make. And so it impairs us, it impairs us. The very fiber of being great is not examining. And so each hole that we have created in the 18 holes of mastering life is created to help examine you.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd add to
Well,
that about the
no, I just
process?
think that I'm excited to learn more about this concept called the threads. And I think you have like a golf story, right?
Yeah,
About
yeah,
this
yeah. Well,
concept.
fresh off the President's Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah,
awesome.
great victory for the USA. And the captain of the international team, his name is Mike Weir. And Mike's a dear friend and an old BYU grad and a lefty, but he's just one of the
Mhm.
sweetest and the most kind and the most wonderful people in the world. And we were out playing golf one afternoon at Riverside Country Club, and he said, "Fader, the most important thing when you're strategically examining your golf game is can you get the ball to the 100-yard marker or close?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, you don't want to not a par 3 because a par 3 you're just trying to hit it on the green, but on any par 4, let's suppose it's 450 yards or
Mhm.
it's 330 yards." He goes, "You really want to try to hit it to the strength of your wedge, which is about a 100-yard shot, somewhere between 60 and 140 yards, depending on
Mhm.
who you are." And as I examined that, I began to think, there's a lot of truth to that. And he goes, "Well, my favorite club in my bag is my putter. My second favorite bag favorite club in my bag is my wedge.
Mm.
So I'm doing everything I can to get it around 100 yards because that's where I'm the best.
Yeah.
And he took down Tiger in the President's Cup years ago, and that's one of the things that made him famous. But then he won the Masters, and he's got a green jacket, so that guy walks on water. But Mike Weir taught me a beautiful, beautiful, part of my life, and that is, Fader, get it to the 100-yard marker as much as you can. And it
Yeah.
helped, and it will help those who are listening. Quit trying to bang it 400 yards off off the tee box. Try to
Yeah.
get to the 300-yard marker, and when you're in trouble, chip out to the 100-yard marker, wedge it on the green, and try to make a putt. Get your par and get out of there. So the
Yeah.
thread, the thread is aligned with that concept. And here's how it works. Let's break this wide open. So the exercise is, if you've got a piece of paper at home, is that you start with the day that you were born. You write down the date you were born and where you were born. That's probably one of the greatest highlights
Mm.
of not only your life, but the world's. Grateful that everybody was born. Because, as you know, from a book I wrote called The Billions, most people don't live very long. And
Mm.
so making it past the tender age of 8 years or 10 years of age is quite an accomplishment. But you start to write down everything that you've accomplished from 0 to 20. Write down everything that you can think about in the 8 categories, from relationships, socially, emotionally, physically, financially,
Yeah.
business. Maybe you made your first $100 in a lemonade stand. Whatever
Mm.
is big in your life, whatever you accomplished, when you got baptized, whether it was as a child or 8 years old or later in life, or maybe you won the state championship in golf when you were 17 years old, or maybe you were a 10-year-old and you were the star in the Wizard of Oz at your local elementary. Whatever that is, write down everything you can from 0 to 20. Then from 20 to 40, write down everything that you can. 40 to 60, 60 to 80. Keeping it in that order of your 1979 when you were born till the present. And you write down every single thing that is a major accomplishment in your life, from it being getting married to having a child to taking your first job to creating your first product to starting your own company. What would you add to that?
Yeah. No, I think that sometimes what comes to mind is, what if I don't feel like I've accomplished much? But you gave
Mm,
some examples of things that we just take for granted. That, hey, you graduated from high school, you got married. Like that's an accomplishment. That's a commitment. That's something that you did that is significant in your life.
fantastic.
And
It's fantastic.
even you have provided for your family for the past 15 years, like that's that's worth some credit. And I think you mentioned the other day to me how we just are so poor at celebrating ourselves.
Mm,
And I think that this strikes at the heart of, hey, let's just have a list available of everything that's great about us,
yep.
so that we can have a source to go to when we need a little bit of confidence.
Beautiful. When you need to hit that 100-yard shot. Because
Yeah.
inevitably, as we progress through life, we have opportunities and we pass on those opportunities because we're scared. I can't do that. I can't do that. You run to your thread and you start reading all the things that you've accomplished. Now, we're insecure. We have a lot of
Mhm.
inadequacies and a scarcity mindset. And there's going to be people listening who are just going to, it's going to frighten them because they're going to say, but I just say, do it anyway. Because
Mm.
I don't care if you have 5 things written down or 50 things written down or 500 things written down for those big time accomplishers out there. It doesn't matter. It will work for you in the same way that it works for every single person, because it will resonate with the person that you are where you're at. And it helps you to realize, you know what, I do need to take a little more of a risk. I do need to try or as one of my players said, I think I'm the most boring person you've ever met, Fader. I'm like, you are.
Uh,
He was, he is, but he's not anymore.
Yeah.
He's not anymore. He got to the 100-yard marker, Tyson, and now he's killing it. And he's doing stuff
Oh,
that he
cool.
just never thought he could do. And he's coming not only more alive, but he's finding himself because he's looking at that thread and saying, I did that, I did that, I did that, I did that. I can do that
Wow.
too. And
Yeah.
that's the beautiful part of this exercise. And so we're super excited to share it with you.
Well, that's the powerful part of getting a coach, and where it's like you might be listening to this and you might think to yourself, "I've got a boring life,"
Hmm.
and that you're just humdrumming it throughout life. And if you
Hmm.
wanted to create some excitement and also create aliveness, that's where this whole self-examined life comes into play, and that's what
Hmm.
we're experts at
Hmm.
because we're doing it every day. We are trying to uncover the truth of who we really are through all the things that spark us in the most beautiful
Hmm.
ways. There was one thing I wanted to ask you though, because last week you told me that Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, it's like they wanted to buy your stuff. Like they wanted to buy your program, essentially.
Hmm.
Like everything that we're going to be teaching you guys, they wanted to buy it from you and have you coach with them or for them. And you I think I don't know if it was your wife or whether it was Heidi that said, "Hey, you're greater than that." But I remember that you said something about reflecting upon your thread and realizing and like what the thread did for you in making a decision. Could you share more about that? Because I thought that was really helpful.
Yeah, Dean and Tony have, they have they live in different universe. These two, they're the very best in the business. And when I joined their group a few months ago, um, they're interested in, teaming up with a lot of different people who are in their organization. So as I
Mhm.
shared with the group some of the things that we were sharing, they were impressed by the enormous amount of gravity that it has towards about pulling out the very best in you. And it was mentioned that they had interest in me presenting and also maybe sharing it with their group in a little more fashion. And immediately I felt this strong, no, I don't want to go there.
Mm.
I want to try to get this off the ground because it's already running extremely well, but I just don't know where it will go from here. And that's the whole point of blowing it up, is seeing how
Yeah.
far you can go. And it just aligns with the thread, pulling it out and looking at my own personal life and saying, you know what, I can do this. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be one of the most difficult things that I've ever done, getting it uh, bigger.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what bigger looks like, but I just know that the key is the reason why the thread is such a powerful concept is because it will propel me forward to do this and to blow it up and to see what kind of strength it has and what kind of people we can affect and where we can go from there. So, anyway, don't want to toot the horn any more than that, but we would
I will
love.
toot the horn for you because
Well,
like
I appreciate it.
it's so powerful and I think I just wanted to add is that um I was reading this book. It's called The Other Half of Church, and it's this neuroscientist and therapist that is this Christian guy, and he talks about how him and his group, they were seeing patients that were had all these mental health challenges, and many of them that were just severe cases, they would just end up hospitalizing them just because it was so hard for them to
Hmm.
get past their traumas and their hardships until they shifted something. And what they shifted was that they started to focus on joy. They started to focus on relationship. And one of the activities and the ways in which they did this was they would have patients and they would invite people to reflect upon times in which they felt the most connected to God, or times in which they just
Hmm.
felt like they accomplished something, gratitude for things. and to create a list of at least 10 moments where they felt
Mm.
connected and
Mm.
like blessed or gratitude, like these moments. So it just reminded me of the thread, because when you reflect on these moments that you just felt so so accomplished, so blessed, so whatever,
Mm.
uh, it does something. And what happened was that when they started focusing on joy, those patients didn't need to be hospitalized. They didn't need to push them
That's
to
cool.
something of an extreme help center. They were able to meet them where they were, and it's almost like, unless they were able to fill their tank, comparing it to this idea of it, unless you're able to fill your tank with the joy gas, with
There you
the
go.
thread of your accomplishments and how amazing you are, it's hard to live life. It's hard to move forward sometimes. And so
Mm.
I just think that as powerful as this is, we just invite you to dive deeper into this. Like, as simple as the activity is, do the activity. And if you don't have the structure, we have worksheets within the Trust It Club that you can. We'll have a link in the description that you can look at, or you can get a one-to-one coach, which is the best way to go about this, because you don't know who you are. But when you start talking to us, we can help you understand who you are and then live a better life, because you're going to start living the truth of who you are. So I just can't help but
Mm.
like shake you guys and say,
Well, we don't want to
listen
admit
up.
that. We don't want to admit that we don't know who we are. We think we know ourselves so well that when we look in the mirror, we see the very person that we don't see.
Yeah.
So it's one of the hardest things for the ego to get through, is that we're such a reflection of who we think we are. But anyway, we hope that you'll do this exercise. We hope that this will be another one of the many things that we share with you in our podcast that you can have for free, because we are so happy to share it with you. And we know that every bit of help that we get from other people, like we have received so much help and continue to receive so much help in blowing Trusted Coaching out of the water and getting it to the right hands. And we thank you all for listening, and we thank you for being a part of it. And reach out to us. Reach out to us in thought or in exercise, meaning join the group, or if you've got things that you'd like to discuss, we'll be happy to do that. So much aloha to all of you. That
Aloha.
cold weather is coming to where you live, dude. You need to get out of there.
I know. I'm already putting jackets on. It's not okay.
We don't even own a jacket.
Oh,
Okay, we own a hoodie. Brother, that's what we have. We were over here. We put the hoodie on. When it gets 67 degrees, we put the hoodie on. We go to the supermarket.
that's
Everybody
awesome.
says, "You okay? We okay?" And we don't wear our sandals. We have to wear shoes. So, love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Hey, listen, if you enjoyed this podcast, you'll want to come check out trustedcoaching.com, where you can get more support and coaching to help you become more of who you really are and to achieve the vision you have for your life. Again, that's trustedcoaching.com. We'll see you there.